Hello again, I'm Dave and thanks for joining me here in the PhatPhish guitar studio. Now, as you may know, I've been taking a bit of a step back from doing so much online stuff because I'm working on a book project at the minute, but I thought it was about time I did do something, so I thought I'd shoot a little tutorial today with some ideas about using open strings and chords. Now, one thing that's always sort of like bugged me a little bit about teaching theory is an important thing to know, and so I started learning music theory because I wanted to know what I was doing, the notes that I was playing. I kind of wanted to know what was right, what was wrong. If I wanted to start writing my own music, being able to know what notes were likely to work when I'm writing a piece, as opposed to what notes weren't allowed in a key or whatever. And learning theory I think is important because you understand what it is that you're playing, but it's a trap that a lot of people fall into, that they only play the right notes. They get stuck into this rut of playing diatonic stuff, only playing notes that belong to the key because those notes are the correct notes to play. And while it's true you won't go wrong by just playing diatonic notes, sometimes you'll miss out on being able to add some character or some sort of tension or whatever to a piece of music by playing the outside notes. Outside notes are valid if they're used in the right sort of context alongside the notes that do belong to the key. And really it's about being able to experiment and being prepared to play the outside notes, understanding how those outside notes relate to the key that you're playing in, and knowing why they perhaps do or don't give you the work and give you tension or whatever. So thought I'd start off just using a really simple chord-based exercise which kind of shows that idea. Oh, and guitar of the day today is this. It's new to me. It's a Evo Artist from H.J. Williams Guitars. New guitar to me. I'll be doing a full review on the channel in a little while. Okay, so let's just start off with a very familiar chord, open E chord, E major. So you've got the bottom E string open, second fret on the fifth string gives you a B, the second fret on the fourth string gives you an E, first fret on the third string gives you a G sharp, second string is an open B, and the first string is the open E. Now if you understand the music theory, you'll know that E major occurs as the 1 chord in the key of E major, occurs as the 4 chord in the key of B major, and it occurs as the 5 chord in the key of A major. So that chord there could be one of 3 things. So what we're going to do is let's move those fretted notes up the neck a little bit. Let's take them up a couple of frets. And think about what we've got. Now it kind of makes sense to think about this as some kind of an E chord. A couple of reasons. Firstly, we've got a E on the bottom string, and your ear kind of gets drawn towards the lower notes. So there's a bit of an E influence going on here. We've also got an E on the top string, and we've got the B, which is the dominant, which is it's a strong tone in relation to E. So let's think of that as some sort of an E chord. So think about these 3 fretted notes. What notes have we actually got? Well, we've got C sharp. C sharp in the key of E is the 6th degree, so it still fits in with the key of E major, which is cool. We've got the F sharp on the 4th string, which is the 2nd degree of E major. It's a major second, which is cool. And we've got an A sharp. Now A sharp's a bit funny because that's actually the sharp 4 degree of the key of E major. It could cause us a problem, but if we understand music theory, sharp 4 in a major context tells us Lydian. If you understand your modes, you know that the Lydian mode has got the formula 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if we think about this, could that be a chord that's some kind of E Lydian chord? So we've got E functioning as the 4th mode of B major, which is possible. So that's the 4 chord of B major. That's an extended chord in the key of E major. So we've got the 1 and the 5. We don't have a third degree, but we have got a ninth degree. So a second is a ninth if you've done your theory on extended chords. Though, if you're not familiar with all of the theory here, some of it is getting a little bit more advanced, and quite a bit of it I've done tutorials on in the past, so I'll put a few links in the information section down there if you want to do a bit of background research. And also there's some tutorials on the main PhatPhish website, which I'll also link in the information section. Okay, so yeah, we've got the C sharp, which is a sixth degree, or we could think of the sixth as also known as a 13. We've got the F sharp, which is a second. We can also think of that as a 9. And we've got A sharp, which is the fourth, sharp 4. We can also think of that as a sharp 11. So we've got a chord with a 1, a 5, a 9, a sharp 11, and a 13. But it gives us a Lydian tonality. So if you play those chords just as a little sequence, you could play a lead line over the top of that using the E Lydian mode, and it would sound fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, so what we can do is take this idea a little bit further. We can start it off with the opening chord, moved it up a couple of semitones to give us this. Let's move the whole thing up another semitone and take a look at the notes that we've got. It sounds okay. There's nothing wrong with it. This is another important thing about composing. It's not just thinking about it from a theory point of view and thinking, well, what do I know is going to be right? You know, being prepared to just experiment, see what you get, and then analysing what you get and understand how it works. So, sounds okay. So let's take a look at what we've got. We've got the E on the bottom string here. We've got a D at the 5th fret on the 5th string, which is if we think about this as some kind of E chord, that's a flat 7. We've got a G at 5th fret on 4th string, which if we think about this as an E type of chord, that's going to give us a flat 3rd. We've got a B at the 4th fret on the 3rd string, same as the B on the open string, which gives you this nice kind of sort of like droning sound where you're playing two notes the same on different strings. But yeah, we've got a couple of notes here that don't really fit in with the key of E major anymore. So it can't keep thinking about this as being a Lydian type of progression, because we've got two notes here that just don't belong in the key of in an E Lydian. We need to think of them as being outside notes. But if you think about it, that kind of gives you quite a lot of tension compared to the other notes. You know, that's quite a happy sound. You know, using your ears, that's not a chord you'd want to necessarily rest on. So we can accept that what we've got are a couple of outside notes. But what they're doing is, they're not sounding offensive, they're not massively wrong, but they give the piece some character. And we can move the chord up. So let's move our chord shape up another couple of semitones. So we've got the on the 5th fret at the 5th string at the 7th fret. We've got an E at the 7th fret on the 4th string. We've got an A, and at the 6th fret on the 3rd string we've got C, but we've still got the open E, B and E. That's starting to sound a bit more resolved. Think about what notes we've got, how do they relate, say, to the key of E, if that's what we're playing in, and just keep moving the chord shape around. So this is the exercise. What I want you to try is take a chord shape, move it around, understand what notes are diatonic, what notes are outside. You know, think about what key am I actually playing in here, and moving that around and seeing how it sounds. Because this is something, if you just approach something purely theoretically, you might not always come across these outside notes. This where you get outside notes and tension comes more often by experimentation than it does by by design. So if I'm thinking about this as a piece in the key of E major, I've got an E major chord. I've got a chord with a sharp 4 with a flat 5. That's an outside note. Maybe that's what's giving them attention. Maybe it's not necessarily a Lydian chord. It's just it's actually an F. It should be an F sharp minor, shouldn't it? If I'm playing in the key of, let's look at the progression. Got an E to this, to this, to this, to this. Now if I was playing this as purely diatonic notes and think I'm stepping through the key of E major, I'd have a 1 chord, which is E major, a 2 chord which is F sharp minor, 3 chord which is G sharp minor, 4 chord which is A major, and 5 chord which is B major. Finish on an E chord there. Now that sounds right, it sounds safe, it's purely diatonic. But if I use this idea of just moving the E major chord up, there's the fretted notes and leaving the open notes open. You can hear this tension. Character. It's got some outside notes, but they're not wrong. They're theoretically wrong, and then they're not diatonic to the key of E major. But what you've got, some outside notes that just creep in. They give you a little bit of tension, but you've got enough notes in here that do belong to the key that it kind of hangs together as a piece in the key of E. But outside notes giving you some tension. So this is. So probably repeating myself a bit, but understand the theory. If you understand the theory, you can analyse what it is that you're playing, work out what is the inside notes, what are the outside notes, and kind of use that to your advantage to give you something that's got some personality rather than something that's very, very bland. Safe. You've got something that's got a little bit more interest to it. And even these notes, these chords here, like the A, I'm going to call it that, and the B. We've got other notes in here. We've got the E and the B, which don't necessarily fit into the chord of A major, but they fit into the key, so you can think of them about as like extensions. And they're diatonic, but it's not playing just a straight chord shape. It's something that gives you a bit more colour. So that's one idea, just starting off on the E major chord shape. You can try this with anything. Let's try it. You can try it with something else. Say like just a regular open A minor chord. So bottom E strings open, A strings open. Got an E at the 2nd fret on the 4th string, got an A at the 2nd fret on the 3rd string, got a C at the 1st fret on the 2nd string, and an open E string there. Try moving that around. So move it up 1 semitone. How does it sound? Ooh, it sounds a little bit awkward. Don't know if I want to use that. Move it up a couple of semitones. Sounds quite pleasant. Move that up 1 semitone again, so we're moving the same sort of movement that we did with the E chord, the thing that started on the E chord. Ooh, that's starting to sound a bit outsidey. So it's just a process of experimentation. Let's move it up another semitone. That's quite nice. Sounds okay. got that droning effect because I've got the E at the 5th fret on the 2nd string and an open E chord and an open E string. So we'll start with A minor, move it up 2 semitones, move it up another 2 semitones. Is there work moving up a semitone? I don't know. Not sure if it works, try moving up something different. Let your ears guide you. What do you think sounds better? Think about what context you're going to be using this in, what notes you're playing, how do they relate to the key, all sorts of things. I suppose you can also think about just adding other notes in as you go. So it's something I was playing around with a little bit recently, just a A sus2 chord, so basically the same as the A minor shape we were playing before, but with an open 2nd string. So loads of possibilities. It's all about experimenting and not getting yourself locked into the idea of what you play has to be theoretically correct and driving yourself from the theory point of view. You know, being creative is about being able to think outside the box, but getting experiments that work more often than you get experiments that fail. Is being able to use your knowledge about music theory and what is sort of technically correct, and helping you to analyse and understand what it is that you're playing and putting it in context. And setting yourself something which is very playing driven, with a bit of thought behind it, as opposed to a theoretical exercise made practical. You'll probably find it's more creative because it sort of encourages you to go to places on the neck or come up with combinations of notes that you might otherwise not do. Music ultimately is a creative thing, so experiment and be creative, but you use your theory knowledge so you understand what it is that you're actually playing. Okay, hope you found that useful. If you did, please click like, subscribe, comment, all the different options that YouTube gives you down there. If you got a question or a suggestion for a future video, then if you go here, there's a form where you can submit your question. I'll try and get around to answering it in a future tutorial. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now. Another semitone. That's quite an interesting sound. See what notes we've got here. Got the open E string. I have a dodgy valve in my amp.